Hi, welcome back to the Revolution Approved podcast. I'm Jen,
And I am Ken.
and this is episode 14.
I know, what a journey. It's been
Four, 14.
yeah, almost. I think we skipped a few weeks here and there, but that's 3 months now almost 3.5 months worth of content. That's pretty cool considering everyone else's content is at zero. So I feel good about ourselves. We're making a big impact. It's good.
To both of you.
Again, to the 4 of you out there who watch it, one of you being our kids,
Yeah.
probably our parents, and then that one other random guy. We appreciate all of your support.
Yes. So today we want to talk about a topic that comes up pretty regularly, I think. Maybe is at the forefront of a lot of maybe early stages of training, definitely later stages of training, motivation.
Yes, the big M word,
Motivation.
motivation.
Where do you get it? How do you get it? How do you keep it? How do you make it work for you?
Well, do you want to hear my opinion on it?
We're gonna get it anyways.
That's right. Okay, so as we have stated before, and I have stated in numerous places, change, for lack of a better word, a change process, someone coming in here wanting to get stronger, they want to get faster, they want to get leaner, whatever. The reason why change processes fail or change plans to change fail is that people simply run out of energy, okay? And when you run out of energy, whether that be intellectual energy, we've talked about in previous podcasts, like the one we did on group training, the one we did on reasons people quit programs, those kind of things. You run out of intellectual energy, programs get boring. Mm-hmm. You don't like doing the same thing all the time. It becomes dull, it becomes repetitive. Some people don't like that. Some people like it, some people don't, okay? That could be one reason. So, you're tired all the time, right? So energy, just as a blanket statement, people running out of it is the reason why 99% of people quit in one form or another. You can trace it back to that, okay? So, therefore, you know where I'm gonna come from. I'm gonna come from the core value spot. I'm gonna come from the why are you training spot. And it has been shown unequivocally in here. I've been doing this for I know it grows every week, but it's like 17 years. I've been, the running gag is I add a year every week. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this for a really long time. We've been open as a solo independent business for 3 years now, right? Okay. And it's borne out in both phases that the stronger your why, the less likely you are to quit. And those with, how shall we say, flimsier whys, and I can go into those if you want, their time is short, especially because, again, like we talked about before we hit the record button, all training programs are eventually going to get hard. Mm-hmm. All nutritional plans or diets are eventually going to get difficult. You're going to get put in a position, like I tell all our clients, our relationship will go great until I tell you to do something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And then we find out where you're at. Life has a certain way of throwing in curveballs and tosses and turns that make people go, oh, wait a second, and then have to rethink that stuff. So motivation for those people, if you're not connected to, if you don't have strongly held core values, you're gonna quit.
Yeah. So to start us at the beginning, when you start a program, you are highly motivated, right? It's new, it's exciting, you have a goal in mind. All of the world is your oyster. You have all of this opportunity and the motivation is just there. You don't have to find it. It's just part of it. It's just part of the...
It's new, it's exciting.
Yes, it's just part of the excitement of starting something new. So where the problem lies is as you start the journey and you go through it and it's not exactly exciting anymore, or maybe it's not new anymore, or it's not, shiny, if you will. Maybe that motivation starts to kind of wear off because the newness has worn off.
Sure, and to piggyback on that, you have people who are, I mean, let's take a look at the fitness industry. It's overwhelmingly gadget-driven. It's overwhelmingly electromagnetic device-driven. So treadmills, if you don't have access to a $10,000 treadmill that can, show you a video of someone running in Kuala Lumpur, then, you're not gonna be able to be successful, right? So along come fitness strategies that are different than those. We'll use CrossFit as an example that implement, basically CrossFit is training from the 1920s and 30s. Medicine balls, barbells, kettlebells, dumbbells, strongman implements,
Sure.
okay? So you go along and you get into that and it's brand new and it's exciting.
Yep.
But if that program stays the same or does the same amount of stuff all the time, that's where that can come in.
Which is their kind of the genius in CrossFit is by changing it every day and changing the workout of the day, if
Sure,
you
you
will,
have to give it,
is you never know what you're gonna do. So they're hoping that it's always exciting, it's always motivating because you never know what's gonna happen when you walk in the door.
Yeah, it's always, and you have to give credit to them. You have to give credit where credit is due. I know we get called, hey, well, no one would call you that. They call me that. They, if you ever want anyone, to shit on something, just ask Ken, because he will. You gotta give credit where credit is due. Okay, so, and that is partly due to the fact of them recognizing that, but then also partly, the other 50% is the gym industry just being so abysmal and ridiculous that it left a gaping hole for the first person to wake up one day and go, well, wait a second, what if we got away from $10,000 pieces of equipment, giant chest
Yeah, what if we-
presses and all
what
this
if we
other
go
crap?
back to elementary
What if
school
you go back-
calisthenics
Yes, what if,
and-
yeah, which has served mankind for going on now 5,000 years.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's good, but even then, you're gonna have people, now, as we well know, we have people who are scared to death of not knowing what the heck is gonna happen. So if you get into a program and this
change blows their mind.
yes, so on the motivation angle in this example, it starts off great, but the foot in that program is always on the gas. There's
Yes.
no let off,
Yes.
right? That's the one, if we wanted to be critical of CrossFit, it's change for the sake of change.
Yes.
It's not change
Yes.
as part of a long-form programming strategy, okay?
Which unfortunately is why so many people get hurt
Yes.
and quit and.
Yeah, but we talked about that in a previous podcast, so if you wanna go find it, check it out. In the group training podcast, I believe. So, that person sees it's hard, and that motivation, those core values, that thing that I just talked about, maybe it's here, but as the program gets harder and harder and harder and harder, we need to establish new values so the hardness of the program outruns the values. And then a person's like, you know what, I just don't want to do any more conditioning work anymore. I've had it with this barbell stuff. Or maybe they get hurt, or maybe they do this, or maybe whatever. And so then their motivation starts to wane, and then they're out the door. If the people who are running the program don't catch that, that's the art of training. As you well know, I have accurately predicted everyone who has quit our facility. I've accurately predicted it at least a month ahead of time, okay? We're not psychic. It's just, if you understand people and you understand behavior and you are a good coach, you can spot the stuff way before it happens.
People are gonna leave signs like a dirty footprint, right?
Yeah.
Like, people come in and they're super, super motivated, or they're, highly enthusiastic, and then, if unfortunately you see that wane, or you see they start to call off a little bit more,
Yeah.
or they're not as talkative during their session, or whatever the case is, I mean, like you said, it all depends on
Yeah.
your relationship with them. The personal and impersonal training is having that personal connection. So if you have that, you can see that
Absolutely.
move forward.
And as the late, great Charles Poliquin famously said, success leaves clues, but also quitting leaves
Yeah,
clues too.
failure.
Failure leaves clues too, absolutely, 100%.
So motivation to start is not it's not hard to find,
Well,
right?
it
You
comes
don't
from
need to,
somebody saying, I want something to be different. I don't want
Well, the motivation
tomorrow
to
to be
s-
like today.
the motivation to start is usually stemmed in excitement. So the question is, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, it's not exciting anymore. How do I stay motivated? How do you guys always stay motivated? Well,
Yeah, because we don't ever, I mean, to our credit, and I'm pointing to myself, to our credit, I mean, we've been doing our thing. We have. I mean, we've been training hard. We very rarely, I mean, again, our motivation is there every day. We don't really have, I mean, that's not to say that our lives are perfect. We've experienced many bumps in the road, but we've continued to do our thing. And again, because that's as an example to, obviously, the people that we help train. So,
that has nothing to do with
okay,
anything.
whatever. Go ahead.
But, so, when you continue down the road, Jen, how do you always stay motivated? Well, it's within my core values. Find that a couple videos ago. Is that staying healthy and staying vital and having longevity in my life is very extremely important to me. So part of that is getting up and moving. That doesn't necessarily mean going, crazy, balls out every single time I walk in the gym. Sometimes that just means hopping on, maybe a piece of conditioning equipment for 30 minutes, or maybe doing some stretching or some yoga. We talked about that before.
Last podcast.
Just getting my blood moving. That's enough for me. So, maybe it's doing the hardcore workout, maybe it's not, but doing something to move every day is important to me. It's very important to my core values. Personally, that's where my motivation comes from. I can wake up and look at my kids. I want to be around for them. I want to be around to see them have kids. I want to be around for as long as possible. Healthy. I don't want to be laying in a hospital bed somewhere. I don't want to be holed up at my house. I don't want to have to ask my husband to wipe my ass one day.
I would, though. Well, I want to help.
I want to live my life. I want to live my best life. So that's where my motivation comes from, is my internal core values.
So let me ask you this question, because the first thing a person's
No,
going to
you
say...
can't wipe my ass.
No, the first thing, not now. The first thing a person's going to say, the first thing a person's going to ask is, well, Jen, that all sounds well and good, but, and then they're going to insert whatever piece of the story that they tell themselves as to why
Yeah.
they're not where they want to be, right?
Yeah.
What
Well,
it-
it's easy for
it's
you.
for you
You
to
own-
say,
you own a gym.
You own a gym. It's easier
Well,
for you.
guess
to-
what? It's
Yeah.
actually extra hard for me because
You got to actually run a gym.
I actually have to, work and do things and
No different
let's-
than-
and let's face it, when you're here all day, every day, a lot of times it's the last place you want to be, which is why for me, I like taking walks outside. I like taking,
Training outside.
riding my bike outside. I like taking the sled out to the parking lot. I like to get out of these four walls
Sure.
because I am here all the time.
Yeah, so people are gonna say, that's easy for you to say, you own a gym, your husband's a stud, he's super smart, he can write your program for you, blah, 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 blah.
He's extremely humble.
Yeah, he's doing his thing, undoubtedly. But what about, and then they're gonna insert the thing that they have, whether it's somebody to watch their kids,
must be nice. You don't have to punch a clock every day.
or an event, or like someone. Well, you're going to encounter stress, and this is where we go back to saying, when we talk about like you have your values of moving, being active is important to you. Okay, so therefore there are very, very, very few things that are going to get you to not engage in that. Now, that's not to say, because again, to sidetrack for a second, the industry will tell you as long as you have everything in your life going perfectly, then you can complete these programs. These,
Sure.
we've in the past couple weeks we've seen them. These lunatic bodybuilding programs where the workouts are 2 hours a freaking day plus, it's 6 days a week,
Yeah.
the food, the whole 9 yards. As long as your life is absolutely perfect, or you're under 24 years old and have no
Yeah.
responsibilities whatsoever, you will be successful.
Yeah.
Okay? We're not saying that. What we're saying is, if you encounter something, okay, a loved one in the hospital, the kids are sick and home from school, that these things might sidetrack you for a day.
Yeah,
They
maybe
might
maybe you
sidetrack.
travel for work. Maybe you.
Yeah, they might sidetrack you for 2 days. They might sidetrack you for a week.
Sure.
But but the thing to remember is, once that is over, once that season is over, your reason is still there to move, and you pick right back up where you left off.
Sure.
It's because, trust me, we have seen, and I have seen over the course of my career, people make phenomenal progress. Train their ass off, eat properly, do their thing for 6 months, a year. And again, the house of cards gets built up, right? And then one little thing happens to them, like Thanos snapping that finger, boom, right? With the gauntlet, with the glove thing on, right? And the whole thing goes,
Yep.
and you
Yeah.
never see them in a gym
Too
again.
many people let, one unfortunate event, whether it's, it could be small, it could be a huge thing, but an unfortunate event is something that takes you off track, and unfortunately, so many people let that, redirect them instead of, well, I fell off, but I'm gonna jump back on.
Yeah, so I'll give you an easy example. When we have twins, okay, you were pregnant with twins, okay, and I announced that I was doing a corporate wellness program at the time, so I was excited, of course, and I announced that to everyone at the corporate wellness program. Oh, we're expecting twins. This is so exciting, and I resoundingly got negative feedback. Well, Kiss working out, goodbye, bro. You're not gonna be able to do anything now. You're not gonna do, right? Okay, so because training is one piece, and it's an important piece. It's not the only piece, but it's a piece, okay? I continue to train. I continue to train. And what I did was, instead of saying, well, the world revolves around me, so I'm gonna train at 5 p.m. Well, no, the world doesn't revolve around me anymore. It revolves around my wife and our brand new 2 kids. So if I gotta get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and train, because that's the only time I have to train,
Yep.
I'm freaking training, okay?
Yeah.
That's the adjustment piece. I continue to do that. I came back on their first birthday and I said, hey, where's everybody at? Because I remember a year ago, you all told me, well, forget it. You're going to gain 80 pounds. Kiss working out, goodbye, blah, blah, blah. You'll see. I kept
and
going
that's
and doing
where-
my thing.
yeah.
And again, I'm not sweet. I kept going because
That's where your core values kicked in and it was important to
yes,
you.
and that motivation to now say, instead of saying, well, Ken is going to train because Ken wants to be sweet. No, Ken is going to train because 25% of Ken still wants to be sweet, but 75% of Ken needs to be in shape to wrangle these 2 kids, go and take care of things for my wife, do this, do that, all that other stuff.
You need to have energy.
Yes, I needed energy,
You
and I
need to
needed
have
to be in
more
condition for that.
energy,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And, that's where, again, the core values and the meditation or the journaling come in is you have to know yourself. You have to know what you need. You have
Yeah.
to know what your
I
body
recognized it,
needs.
and I said, I'm
If
gonna.
you need to take a nap, you take a nap. If you want to go train, you go train. You don't go train in the middle of the day or, at 4 or 5 o'clock at night when
Sure.
the kids are at like their peak.
Sure.
You go when
Yeah.
they're sleeping or when it's downtime or when you get a chance.
Yeah, and all
because
the-
it's important to you.
Yeah, and at the time, I was doing a fair bit of what one would call powerlifting. I competed in a meet. I was doing all that. And then as it got closer to these kids coming, I totally switched my training around to accommodate the birth of these kids, but then also the energy level needed. So I switched my training from going super heavy, again, powerlifting style training to more conditioning work. And I don't mean running or endurance nonsense on a piece of equipment. I'm talking about, metabolic conditioning, circuits, stuff like that. Still training heavy with weights, but in a cardiovascular fashion, because I needed the heart strength to be able to handle this stress,
Right.
to be able to handle all these new things, because, I mean, we didn't have any kids, so this was brand freaking new,
Yeah.
and
We were going from 0
to two.
To two,
And I
yeah.
kept going and going, and that's a good example to me on how to do that. And I think that most people, they get taken to places that their character can't handle. They get overwhelmed. Things comes, because again, remember, American rat race society, everything is super fast. Okay, that's by design to trick you and sucker you in most instances on things. So slow stuff down, look at it for what it is, and instead of making snap decisions that are often bad, you go back to what you just talked about. You meditate on it, you think about it, you journal, you ask people who have you. Don't ask the hater next to you at work what their opinion is, or the person who's never worked out a day in their life what their opinion
Yeah.
is on working out,
I
because they'll
don't
give
know-
you
I
a
don't
negative one.
I don't understand that, honestly. Asking other people their opinion on your own stuff anyways, because, I mean, they're not you. How do they know?
Well, you have-
And let's face it, their goals aren't gonna be in line with your
Well,
goals. Their goals are their goals.
You have to ask
So
people.
if you have a goal of, you know, getting in the gym or being healthy or changing lifestyle or whatever you're gonna do, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people look at that as a negative and they want to kind of kibosh that for you anyways, just by negative speaking.
Yeah,
or
subconscious.
tearing you down or
Subconsciously, yeah. They're not consciously gonna hide your car keys. I don't think that most people are on that level, but subconsciously through the way that they talk and the way that they act and their perceived. I tell this to people all the time. If you ever wanna find out where people are at, go to your next, use your family as an example, go to your next family gathering and just say something just totally audacious. Say, create some great. Here's good ones. You're gonna open your own business. You're gonna go back to school and get a PhD. You're gonna quit your job and go hike some trail somewhere. You're gonna ride a motorcycle across Europe. Something totally outside of the box completely, and you watch their reaction. And if their reaction is one that maybe isn't what you thought it was gonna be, you know where they're
you know
at.
what, and that's a perfect example as far as motivation. If you are motivated to quit everything and go hike the Appalachian Trail for 6 months, first of all, I applaud you because that's amazing. But second of all, you know, if you have the motivation to do that, you are going to put all kinds of things in your life in place in order for you to go and do that, because that's going to be something that's super important to you. So if training or changing your physique or changing your lifestyle or changing eating habits or something is important to you, you will find a way. So again, the motivation piece comes from looking inside and saying, you know, is this important to me? Is losing 100 pounds important? Well, is it more important than eating the cheeseburger? Or
Yeah.
is vitality more important, right? And these are things that you have to look at and internalize yourself and find out, well, what's more important? People say all the time, it's not that easy. Well, it is actually that easy. I mean, it's not easy to break bad habits, sure. It's not easy to maybe start new habits, sure. But ultimately, eating a salad and eating a plate of maybe cheesy fettuccine, right, with bacon and peas and all the good stuff, maybe,
Okay.
right?
Sounds gross.
Okay. I hear all the time.
Go
okay,
ahead.
A greasy bacon cheeseburger and
Okay.
fries, okay? As opposed to eating a salad or eating I don't-
Something, a
whatever,
healthier option. Yes.
whatever, an apple, okay? I hear all the time, it's just not that easy. Well, it takes the same amount of energy to lift the burger as it
Well,
does to lift the apple, right?
yes,
So
that-
when you break it down, it actually is that easy.
That's true.
So yes, combating the bad habit maybe isn't that easy, but when you sit down and you look at yourself in like internally in your heart and say, what's more important? Is eating this burger and having the initial satisfaction of like, that was so good, with like grease hanging off your face and like cheese still on your fingers. And, you know, if all of that to you for the 10 or 15 minutes before your stomach bloats up and you have to run to the bathroom to shit your pants is more important to you than breaking the habit and breaking the cycle and maybe choosing an apple with some peanut butter or a handful of nuts or a nice big salad or whatever is maybe a healthier option, to where now you feel good, it gave you some energy, your skin is probably looking better, your organs feel better, and let's face it, now you can get through the rest of your day, right? Guilt-free, maybe.
Well, it helped you get to the next meal.
It,
You started a self-efficacy
you
ball
have
rolling.
you have to decide what's more
Yeah,
important for
yeah.
you. So it's not about what Jen wants or what Ken wants. It's not about the myriad of examples that Ken wants to give you and his long history of whatever. It's about, you have to find the motivation within yourself and what's most important for you.
Sure. I was reminded, that reminds me of an interview I saw with Arnold once.
Example, see?
Yeah, it's an interview I saw with Arnold once, and they asked him, they said, how did you combat that? You know, you're living in Southern California, and it's this freewheeling 60s and 70s, and you got all this temptation. And he said, hey, look, here's the deal. Did I want to eat a jelly donut, or do I want to be Mr. Olympia? Which one do I want more? So whatever you're putting, whatever choices you are making, you are energizing.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
your life. So you
you
wanna-
will find motivation in whatever you truly desire.
Because I'm sure there are people out there, and we know some, who shall remain nameless, that, the black cloud of doom hangs over their head 24/7,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it's like, okay, well, but what percentage of that black cloud of doom hanging over their head is of their own doing based off of the choices that they have made and the things that they have
100%.
a lot, yeah. I was going to say
Sorry.
97.5, but 100's fine.
Everything, and I'm sorry, and I know this is super controversial, right?
Jennifer
But
at
I'm gonna say it.
theholisticrevolution.com is the email
Yeah,
address.
I'm gonna say it, right?
Go ahead.
Getting real with Jen. Everything. What?
I'm nervous about what you're going to say. That's my nervous face.
Everything that happens to you, okay, is your own doing. And I don't mean I got hit in the parking lot. I don't mean I tripped over the side. I don't mean any of that. What I mean is, right? What I mean is how you accept the things that happen to you is how you take the things. So it's raining outside, right? I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining.
It is.
Right? I'm not gonna sit back and go, I needed to cut my grass today. It's freaking raining. This is bullshit. Oh my God. Blah, 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 blah. It ruined my whole day. Right? I am going to look at, instead of this happened to me, I'm going personally to say, okay, well, I can't change that, right? I can't do anything about it. I can't stop it. So, okay, well, I'm gonna take it in stride. I'm going to maybe change plans, change my mentality for the day, change around some stuff. And, okay, it is what it is, right? So, when you are looking for motivation in the gym and you go, well, I travel all the time for work and I have to eat out and this is just, and then I come home and I got the kids and I got my spouse and I got house stuff and it's just, this is bullshit. Well, okay, first of all, in your job that you have to travel, okay? You know you're gonna do it. So what are you doing, right, to implement things that are going to be a positive for you? Are you packing your own food? Maybe, maybe not. Okay? Are you taking responsibility for, okay, I come home and I got the kids and I got the housework and I got all this. Well, did you wake up an hour earlier to get your training in before your day started? Did you take the time to maybe journal before you went to bed to get all of this off your chest so that, because tomorrow's a new day, God willing, right? Hopefully you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll get another crack at it. Are you, fighting with your spouse because they didn't do something for you for your goal? Or are you going to take responsibility for, well, it's your goal. You have these things to do. You should mentally be prepared for it. You should know what needs to happen because ultimately it's not your spouse's goal. It's your goal, right? So I think a lot of it all boils down to you find your motivation and you keep your motivation. It all comes from within, I think.
Yeah, you have to have people. I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit earlier in that wild rant that you went on.
Sorry, it was an example from 25 years ago.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said you're gonna come up with the goal. No one else can come up with the goal. I get that question all the time. Hey, what's a good goal for me? I don't know because they're not my goals. Okay?
Yeah.
So they're your goals. What do you want? Now, a lot of people are afraid to write those goals down because of
You're making it real.
You're making it real, but then also programming issues that we come into from families and societies and religions and all these other things. And people get nervous because they say, well, if I want to lose 50 pounds, they step outside themselves for a split second and they think about everyone else around them. Well, how's everyone else around me going to take me losing 50 pounds? Okay.
Well, yeah. How many times have you wanted to start a diet and you go, ooh, it's Thanksgiving this week, or oh man,
Yeah.
Halloween's coming up. What am I going to do with all that candy?
Mm-hmm. And that's the hard part is we're dealing with.
So you put these things off because of an outside circumstance.
We're dealing with relationships. We're dealing with people. We're dealing with work. Okay. I can't tell you numerous examples of guys who have never cooked a meal in their life. All of a sudden, their wife wants to go on a diet. Now they're Emeril Lagasse. Yeah. Right? Now all of a sudden, they're making all these
Mario or Emeril?
Whatever that guy. They're both turds, but whatever. They're making all this food and this and that, and it's like, okay, well, but for the previous 15 years of the relationship, you didn't say a word. But then when the person comes out and wants to make a change, there we go. So you have to identify people. I use the term dream team. You got to find people who are on your dream team. Okay, you got to surround yourself with those people. If you look at any success book, whether it be business, health, money, school, whatever, the person who wrote the book, number one, they're going to say, identify what you want to do. Number two, they will tell you, eliminate negativity. Mm-hmm. Okay? Eliminate those people from your sphere of influence, okay?
Surround yourself with people that support you and your goal.
Or at least put them in the correct filing cabinet, the correct box, right? Because a lot of people out there, their families and their coworkers and their jobs have them in a box. So I like Jen in the Jen box. And the Jen box means she's got medium length brown hair and she wears jeans and t-shirts and this and that. So now once Jen starts to take steps outside the Jen box, now all of a sudden that raises a thing for me, and I go, what the heck? And then I say, hey, that thing is stupid, or hey, yeah, I wouldn't do that, or because it's not about what me loving her for her wanting to be her.
Yeah, have you ever heard? I love you, unconditional love.
Yeah, that's not true.
Well, it's good. Then you can't put conditions on it and tell me if I shave my head and I start wearing 50s dresses and. You can't say, well,
that's conditional, right? Exactly. So this is what we have, right? So they're going to do that. So you know that you have to do that. And you have those people in your family, whether they be parents or spouses or whoever. I hope you don't, but most people do, where you know what they're going to say before it comes out of their mouth. Mm-hmm. So you got to be prepared for that. You have to be able to weather that. And then as a way, not to be woo-woo-ish, but the universe per se has a way of testing people. Like, oh yeah, we'll see.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, we'll see. You have a goal? Okay, well we'll see. I'm gonna make it so, how many people do we hear in here that they got caught by a train? They got this, some little thing in their day went out of the way that they didn't want it, and it just
Yeah.
washed out the whole entire day.
Yeah.
Okay? So you gotta be prepared for those things, and that's where having those goals that are appropriate and having the values along with them, like we talked about earlier. I'm not necessarily looking to be like beach guy in like a tank top and like strutting around on the beach so like I can get validation from some other dude, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do that. That's okay for some people depending on where they're at in their life. At 21 years old, I was that dude. Absolutely, okay? 37 years old, even though I don't look it, I'm not that guy. I'd rather be into, I don't want my joints to hurt. I need energy to run this business. I need energy to be a good example to these clients. I want to wrestle with my kids. I want to, be a good husband to my wife. And blah, 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 blah. So that's where my motivation comes from. And then I understand that as things come up, I roll with the punches. They're not knockout punches, they're glancing blows. I roll with them.
Well, life is gonna happen, and you have to understand
yeah.
that. It's not always gonna be a cookie cutter,
Perfect.
perfect
Yeah.
scenario for you every single day where the sun's shining and your food is prepped and your kids are gonna go to school for 8 hours, so you get, you can either train before work or after work, and it's all gonna line up perfectly. Look, things happen, and you have to figure out how to navigate through that. And if you don't have strong core values, you're not going to have strong motivation to stick to anything.
Yeah,
That's
so-
just the bottom line. So going back to, motivation, where do you find it? How do you keep it? Is, again, it's within you, and you have to figure out what your goal is for you, and the motivation will come if it's a strong enough goal. I mean, if I tell my kids they need to clean up their room, I can tell them 75 times in a row.
So you blew in the face.
And they're never going to be motivated to get up and clean their room until I hang a, maybe PlayStation gift card over the door and say, when this room is clean, you can have access to this. Now, guess what? They're super motivated to clean that room. But in adult land and real life, it's kind of the same deal where, maybe my carrot, my PlayStation gift card is, living a long life or feeling really good all day, not having stomach issues, not being in the bathroom, not, having my face break out like I'm a teenager, not having my hair fall out, not having, whatever, not being blown out when I want to walk, go on a field trip with the kindergartners and they're running all over the place. I can keep up with them. That's my carrot. That's what motivates me to continue to do what I need to do. Do I want to sit and eat garbage all day? Well, not really, because I know how it makes me feel. But would it be easier to drive through the fast food than go home and have to cook dinner after all day? Yeah, it would be easier, right? But
you
that's
know
not the
gonna-
better choice.
Yeah,
that's
that's not going to get you to your goal.
Yes, that's not gonna give me the outcome that I want. So I'm willing to navigate my way to where I need to be.
I like it. That was good. Yeah.
You just have to figure it out. You have to
Yeah.
figure it out for yourself. And I know people don't like hearing that. They want an easy answer. They want a cookie cutter program. They want, you just tell me what to do. You tell me my goal. You tell me what to eat, how to train, how to live, how to everything. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to work that way. I mean, if you want true health and wellness and vitality and longevity, you do actually have to do some soul
And
searching.
you have to find out what's best. You have to find out what's best for you and what's going to be most congruent for you. And you have to surround yourself with people that actually care about you and your goals, not
Yes.
how you are going to be and how it's going to affect them. And I know
Correct.
I'm the example master, and I'll give you one more example of that. I have a goal. By the time I'm 40 years old, I get here at 4:45 in the morning, every morning, to train a 5 a.m. because our schedule is quite busy. We're very lucky. And I made the statement that by the time I'm 40 years old, I will have almost 20 years in this industry. I'm kind of over training people at 5 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
just to train them, okay?
It doesn't
'Cause
mean
we're
quitting work.
It doesn't mean quit. Yes,
stop
it
training
means that
people altogether.
I'm ready to move on to the next phase of my career.
It means maybe showing up and training your first person at like 8 a.m.
Yeah, is that mean, or better yet, people, because they understand the value and the service that they're getting, come to me and say, well, when do you have? And I say, I have 8, and they go out of their way to get there, right? I'm ready to move on to the next phase of my career. I'm ready to public speak. I'm ready to take the show on the road. We got a lot of stuff in the pipe, okay? So that doesn't mean that I'm gonna quit training people. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And quite a few people had an adverse reaction to that statement. Because they had an adverse reaction to that statement because they weren't thinking about what's best for Ken.
No.
They were thinking about how that's going to affect them personally.
Yes.
So they didn't have my best interest at heart. They only thought of themselves.
Correct.
Okay? So that is what you need to think about. Before you sit down, when you sit down and write your goal, it's your goal. Okay? How are you going to do it? What are the things that you need to be in place for you to get it, to live the most a life that's most congruent with yourself? That's the key, because the more in line you are with yourself, the easier this will be.
Oh, the happier you'll be, just period.
The better the process will be, and the longer lasting the results. So if you're a person like yourself that likes the outdoors, that wants to be outside all the time, and then I tell you, because of my personal things, that you need to go to school and you need to get a job in a cubicle and you need to sit on a phone all day and you need to get yelled at by some asshole for 9 hours and blah blah blah. You're gonna run into stress, because that's not the real you.
Yeah, and that's the reason why, I don't even want to throw a percentage out there because I'm sure somebody will get mad at me. But that's why majority of people in this country are extremely unhappy.
Yeah, miserable is a better word.
Miserable, unhappy,
They're not just unhappy, they're miserable.
Not fulfilled.
Sure.
You don't feel like you're living your best life. And, I tell people this all the time, but most recently I told one of the twins, he was saying, oh, I just can't wait till Friday. Why can't it just be Friday? And I had to sit back and say, I know you're excited for Friday because it's the weekend and everybody gets excited for Friday, but don't wish your life away. You should be enjoying, you should have something happening every single day that makes you enjoy every day, right? You should not care that you wake up and it's Tuesday, because
Tuesday's cool too.
First of all, you woke up. Second of all, you're healthy. Third of all, whatever the case is that fits your particular life, but don't wish your life away, right? It goes by fast enough. Before you know it, you're going to be old and gray and whatever. But the premise of it is stop wishing your life away. You should be happy with yourself and you should curate a life that is so fulfilling to you that you don't care if it's Monday or Wednesday or Friday or if it's the weekend or if it's whatever. You should be happy every single day. And if you're not, you need to look inside and find out why and figure out what motivates you, not just in the gym, not just in the kitchen, but what motivates you in life? What gives you happiness? What brings you joy? And if, your job is what's making you unhappy, it's time to find a new job.
Yeah.
Or, if you're being around your spouse and kids is it doesn't make you happy, first of all, you need to figure out why. And second of all, you need to make some changes. And I'm not saying, please don't email me and say, oh, you told me to leave my spouse. You told me to go out for milk and not come home and leave my kids. I'm not saying that, not at all. Please do not get me twisted. I'm saying do some soul searching and figure out why you are not happy, right?
That's a good question, and even for a 9-year-old to sit down and think and say, okay, well, what is it about what I'm doing that I'm not happy doing, right? That's interesting, because again, people are gonna put you, like for instance, for him, well, you gotta go to school. Well, but what kind of school? Where at? What, so on and so forth. So that way, we're starting this thing really early where you're not just going along to get along and doing what everyone else does, because
Yeah.
again, the example of everyone else is they're miserable.
Yeah.
So why if one of your main interests in life is being happy, why would you take advice from someone who's miserable?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you see a lot of the stuff that we see in the fitness industry and nutrition industry. If you just do the opposite, you'll be totally you'll be far better off. So it's like, well, why would I take advice from? Why would I? Hey, I want to be happy and I want to like have a job that that I feel fulfilled with in this. Why would I take advice from someone who works at a job that they hate and they bitch about it every day and life sucks and this and that? Why would I take their advice? I would do the exact opposite, right? And I'd probably be far better off,
Yeah.
okay? So that's the key. Sit down, write down, like we talked about in our previous podcast, when am I gonna eat? When am I gonna sleep? When am I gonna move? When am I gonna spend time with my family if you have one, wife and kids, so on and so forth. And
Are they in line with my core values
yes,
and my goals?
and you set up what you're gonna do around that.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And that's it. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Look, it's your life. You are the main character in your life, right? You are the head person. Whatever you want, whatever title you want to give yourself, you're the CEO of your life, right? You should be living your best life. And if you aren't, because you're letting outside circumstances or people or the world dictate
Yeah,
to
buzzkill
you
you.
what you should be doing, but that's not in line with your core values or your goals or your passions, you need to figure out why you're letting everybody else give you, take that away from you. Think about it, if you owned your own company, would you let somebody outside who doesn't have the best interest of your company come in and change things? Or come in and tell you what to do? Or come in and, realign stuff? No, because it's your deal. So I know we need to wrap up. I know we're going on forever and ever on this topic, but
Oh, but I think it's good though.
if you need to do some soul searching, you need to live your best life, you need to figure out what that is for you, because nobody can tell you what that is, right? So figure it out. Your motivation will follow. I think that's a pretty easy, cut and dry thing, right? Motivation. So figure it out.
Yeah, you just have to tap into it.
Yeah.
And again, when everything lines up, it's easy to follow. And then the key component of when things aren't lining up, when things get hard, is because they're not lined up.
Yeah.
So like, wow, today's workout was really hard. Okay, well, was today's workout really hard? Or did I not get enough sleep? Or did I get affected by some asshole I work with? Or did I not, I forgot my water? Or I did this, So now you can start to get answers. You're listening, you're maintaining an internal dialogue.
Yeah.
Internal conditions are manifesting themselves externally. You're recognizing that, and you're able to you're better able to roll with the punches of life instead of one thing comes along and it's Kroger doesn't have butternut squash, so the whole entire diet is ruined.
Yeah.
Okay, that tells me that person did not explore their values around food. They're in one of these all or nothing plans, okay, that the nutrition is so famous for. Well, if you can't drink 3 shakes a day, then the diet won't work. It's bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. And you gotta just start there. The more things are in line, the easier things will come. And then the harder things get, maybe that's a sign to you that something's out of whack.
Something's out of whack, yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You good? I'm good. Again, hate mail, Jennifer at theholisticrevolution.com. That's excellent. If you would be so kind as to like and share this video, that would be great. Subscribe to our channel if you will. And also, if anyone has any topics that they would like us to talk about, as you can see, we don't shy away from the controversial or saying things that are controversial.
Yeah.
So
If you have questions, comments, let us know.
yeah, leave them in the comment section.
If you have arguments, let us know. If you have maybe topics you want to hear us discuss, topics you want us to maybe expand on, let us know.
There you go. All right, I'm Ken.
I'm Jen.
See you next week.
Bye.